Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Have to bear with me, I'm feeling from Patrick today, so I'll have Debbie do roll call. Where's she at?
Good morning. Patrick Brown is not here today. Mayor Fruleng Bogus,
Present.
Steve Summers,
Present.
Mayor Smith,
Here.
Christopher Walton, Diane Marlin, Mary Alice Wu, Kyle Patterson, Diane Michaels,
Present.
Mayor Finan,
Here.
Alicia Beck,
Here.
Katina Wilcher, and Kelly Blandon. Thank you.
Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda this morning?
So moved, Summers.
Second. Second, Michaels.
Any discussion? All right. Let's go.
We don't need to call roll.
We don't do that.
Just, all in favor, yay, nay?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Is there any audience participation? No, don't see any.
For the audience participation, can we check the mics and make sure everything's working, and then I'll log out?
Sure. Delitzo, can you hear us okay?
Yes,
Okay. Mr. Francisco, you're okay?
yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chuck.
All right. The minutes, approval of the June 23rd minutes, meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved, Smith.
Second,
Michaels.
any discussion? All approved?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will go to the consolidated financial reports. See here, there you are.
Yep, I'm hi. Go ahead and we'll jump to the July consolidated unless anyone's got any questions on June's. Overall, operationally, no significant changes. You'll see that for early childhood, the operating, the econ development and USDA funds, all of those have remained fairly the same as far as the fund balance goes. Operating account has less activity still just because of we're out of season with the LIHEAP right now. We do have the workforce development program, which you hear it every single time from me, but they run a deficit in their fund balance, and you'll see that as of the end of July, they're currently sitting at a deficit of $308,627.47. And that is just due to, we're always basically a timing issue of collections with federal funding through the state. Not that we've actually got a deficit, it's just planning to get the money here later on. We do have, we'll bring to light here, the ICRT program that in July, so we got Paul here today too, who can speak on behalf of the program, but they jumped on effective July 1st. So you'll see that we went from a fund balance at the end of June related to startup cost of a deficit of $14,000 related to the program. And this is just to get the program up and running. We do have a grant related to those startup costs that we plan to get reimbursed for. And once again, as operations were still getting underway in July, you'll see there's a deficit of $175,000 currently sitting in the program. Similar to the workforce program though, you will see where we're always paying up front for the cost and then getting reimbursed down the road later on related to this program. So I guess when you're looking at it, kind of think of it in a way similar to the workforce program, and that we're always going to be running a deficit balance for the most part through that program, unless we get any sort of supplemental funding that comes in up front. So.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the consolidated financial reports for June and July? So moved. Second. Okay, is there any discussion or questions? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
So when flipping through them, once again, I mean, no unusual activity. You'll see we've got the list out there for our top 10 vendors for each of the months. The only thing I thought was kind of funny that stuck out, I saw game time under 2104. I wasn't overly familiar, and it took me a reminder of realizing what that was. That is just for the playground, the point of the, like it's a rubber asphalt that goes across for the children to play on. So no gambling involved or anything like that. This is actually a valid cost. So, and that amounted to about $130,000 across June and July. But otherwise, the rest of our vendors are the same. And typically, our highest vendors being Ameren and Champaign County. So,
Thank you. I hear a motion to accept and place on file the list of all the bills for June and July.
So moved. Smith.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion or questions? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action items, we have the fiscal year 2024 budget proposal. And Delizzo is hiding behind, there's, okay, thank you. Good morning, Delizzo.
Morning, Mayor. How are you? Good morning, Commissioners. I'm going to hand it over to Ryan here in a minute, but we're pleased this morning to present to you the FY 2024 budget for the Regional Planning Commission. This is our preliminary budget in that I think at our November meeting, we'll also present to you the compensation plan for the agency. So with that said, I would like to hand this over to Orion to walk you through the budget proposal for 2024. Thank you.
Just start too by thanking all the program staff for their assistance this year with getting the budget taken care of here. It's been a fun year, this first year go around. So to start, we've got our overall total agency budget here. We expect staffing levels to remain steady. We did have a drop off from last year. I think last year we were sitting at around 150, 160 full-time staffing, and now we're down to about 310, and this is due to the significant drop off of different federal and state funding from COVID. So we're getting back really to like our normal operational levels as far as our employment goes. Currently looking at revenue of $54,848,336 with expenditures of $54,629,579. The overall agency budget now has 7 funds versus 5 last year. The main changes being the police training funding that used to be pushed through the operating fund at 075. During one of our last external audits that we had, one of the recommendations in order for us to have a separate balance sheet was to split them off entirely for basically grant reporting. No findings, it was just a recommendation, and since I'd seen it there in the last couple of years, I figured might as well just go ahead and make everyone happy. So, so police training's got its own fund, which is 2060 this year, and then we also have the indoor climate research and training program that came on effective July 1st. So within this, we have more than 140 grants across 9 different programs. Federal and state grants make up approximately 90% of the budget. We anticipate our staffing levels, once again, to remain steady and back on regular operations. And then similar to last year, we're proud to always say that our administrative cost being less than 7% of the agency budget. State allows for us to have up to 20%, and the federal government allows for us to have up to 15%. So us having a lower admin cost allows for RPC to remain competitive in securing new grant funding. While one-time stimulus funding is nearly exhausted, the overall agency budget has increased because of the addition of the ICER program that we had come aboard. Okay. Jumping into the operating budget, we're anticipating revenue of $24,851,416 and expenditures of $24,530,000. Yeah, go one more down. We want to backtrack. Yep, there we go. Sorry. And expenditures of $24,530,304, with a fund balance of $4,165,648. These funds are all restricted in relation to various federal, state, and local commitments. And within the operating, this entails the admin, and community services, and highway. I'm losing it here. Okay, maybe you want to backtrack one slide here. So once again, threw me a curveball here, but we've got the police training program. Like I said, that got split off from our operating. Historically, this funding was part of 075. Now it's part of its own fund. Budgeted revenue this year is $650,000. Expenditures of $437,395, with an anticipated fund balance of $212,605. Much of this is just uncollected or unspent grant funding that typically rolls forward. Usually the way this fund works is if there's any unspent funding, we just carry forward and it's reapplied to the next grant period. There are 3 staff related to the program, and that's remained consistent over the last 4 to 5 years. If you want to jump ahead a few slides. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Our next fund is 2104. This is the Early Childhood Fund. In this fund for fiscal year 24, revenue and expenditures are both projected at $13,271,880, with a budgeted fund balance of $3,395,143. Again, this fund balance is restricted by federal, state, and local agencies and is used for the maintenance of the facilities where the program's operated and obviously the child care there. Funding is primarily from federal Head Start and state Department of Education. The one change with the program that we have going into fiscal year 24 is with the closure of the Savoy facility and then the opening of the new facility over here in Champaign. While the grant funding remained exactly the same, there was a drop in the number of children from, I believe it was, I know no one liked the number last year, but 666 children last year to 511 this year. And to do this, it was to allow for basically staff to be compensated and for us to be able to bring in staffing because there were significant staffing shortages across the facility. So we weren't able to actually take care of over 600 children because we didn't have the staff to do so. So hopefully with this adjustment here with the state, we should be able to provide the appropriate care needed for the children. So next fund. Okay. So like I said, this one's our new fund that we've got going on this year related to the new program, the Indoor Climate Research and Training program that we took over from the university. Entering into an IGA agreement with DCO, we have new funding of approximately $5.3 million that's coming in related to this new agreement. Total projected revenue and expenditures for next year is around $12 million. You'll see $11,880,000 to be exact. And similar to, like I was saying earlier here with the workforce program, much of it operates on a reimbursement basis, so we would expect budgeted fund balance to be 0, but it could run deficit just based on timing of collections. There's also additional funding expected to come in of approximately $3 million related to HUD and DOE that currently is still being worked on, but we do have numbers to go off of for our projecteds. The other thing that I guess I won't get into too much right now, but I'll let Delipso and talk on behalf of this. But basically, we're looking to potentially a new facility as well for this program. Funding would be covered through federal and state as well. And as of right now, that makes up about another 4 to 5 million of that projected budget, so. This is, so our Fund 110 is our Workforce Development Fund. Within this fund, we're anticipating budgeted revenue of $4,004,000 and expected expenditures of $4,247,000. This consists of approximately $2.4 million in funding from the two-year formula grant. The formula grant did have a drop of approximately 4% of its budget compared to that of last year. However, we expect this to be made up through additional opportunities related to some supplemental funding that's coming through. Approximately $400,000 to $500,000 that we're aware of as of right now, as well as additional opportunities with the results of inflation and the issues with the markets going on right now, and the inability to find work. Once again, you know, the fund operates on a deficit until we get reimbursed, so we're currently projecting a deficit of $451,803. Full-time employment within the fund is expected to remain at about 40 employees. We've got 39 going into next year. Next fund is our USDA loan fund. Revenue is expected at $15,040, expected expenditures of $43,000, and fund balance will remain relatively unchanged at $802,974. Primarily, this is made up of our intermediary revolving loan funds, or loans that we have out to individuals or businesses. The funds are made up of loans to businesses that operate within populations of rural areas less than 25,000. And then we're currently estimating approximately $150,000 of disbursements here going into next year. Okay. Then our last fund on our list is Fund 2475. This is the Economic Development Fund. In this fund, projected revenues, we have $176,000, projected expenditures of $220,000. And then I caught this typo, you know, of course, just this morning here. The budgeted fund balance is currently setting at $7.5 million here for next year. That's not entirely accurate because we did have the DCEO disbursement that just took place of $1.7 million. So our actual budgeted balance is going to be down for next year, need to be at around $5.8 million. Actual of $5,759,247. Similar to prior year, due to labor shortages and supply disruptions, we don't anticipate making any new loans during the next fiscal year. But depending on how the market goes, you know, that can always change. So that is it for the funds. The last thing I want to bring everyone's attention is just the local contributions to the area. And there's no slide for that. Yeah. So for local contributions going into next year for budget, we do have Champaign County budgeted at $36,984 coming in from CUWATS, membership dues of $20,835, police training of $9,361, youth assessment center of $332,500, for total local contributions of $399,680. Then we have the City of Champaign, CUWATS of $36,984, membership of $59,306, police training of $19,588, and the AC, or youth assessment of $15,000, for a total of $130,878. Go to City of Urbana, where we've got CUWATS of $36,984, membership of $26,865, police training of $11,561 for a total of $75,410. Village of Rantoul, membership of $9,426, police training $4,816 for for a total of $14,242. Village of Savoy, Kuwats, $6,526. Membership, $6,803 for a total of $13,329. And then we get down to, Village of Muhammad, $7,136 in membership, and $1,237 in police training for a total of $8,373. And then Village of St. Joseph at $3,566. We also have University of Illinois Kuwas at $19,178. Total contributions comes in at a little over $500,000. So, and that's all I've got.
Thank you very much. And by the way, I apologize because calling you Oren, it's Orion?
Orion.
Orion.
Yeah, I get
Okay.
called Orion,
Sorry about
Orion.
that, 'cause
No, you're
I'm
fine.
And it's like, it looks like Orion to me, but anyway, so sorry about the confusion there. So, all right, with that report, I appreciate that. Is there a motion to accept and place our 2024 budget proposal as presented?
So moved, Michaels.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll have our Head Start, an early Head Start. Randy, those reports.
Hi, good morning. In your packet, I included the Head Start management reports for May and June, which were reviewed and approved by the Policy Council. The management reports include the following highlights. In May, the new Head Start Regional Office Program specialists from the Chicago area visited all of our centers and met with the management team to learn more about our program. Annually, programs receive in-person visits, so this was not out of the ordinary. I will say that that specialist is no longer with the regional office now, so we do have a new program specialist. So hopefully he'll be coming and visiting our program as well. As you know, our program has several changes and transitions over the last several months. On June 9th, the Champaign Center on Mill Street closed and the children moved from that center to West Champaign Center. On July 10th, we opened our doors to children and families at the new Elizabeth Murphy Early Childhood Education Center on Lombard Road in Champaign. This facility will serve 64 infants, toddlers, and pregnant women. The center is beautiful and the children are very happy, as well as our employees, so it's really nice to see it come to life. In June, the Policy Council reviewed and approved the rules of operations and RPC's cultural competency plan. We had 3 new parents to join our council, which now brings the council up to 12 parents and community representatives, so that's really, really awesome. That's all I have for you this morning. If you have any questions, please let me know, and that concludes my report.
Mayor, if I may add to a couple of things to Branda's report. The first being just to again extend our appreciation to the county board for appropriating $2 million that went toward the purchase of the new Elizabeth Murphy Early Childhood Education Center. Without the county board's support, we would not have been able to acquire that new facility. So I know we have 2 county board members that are on the commission. So again, our appreciation for that. The second thing to share with you is that due to the change in scope for the Head Start program that was reported, we did complete negotiations with AFSCME late last week, and we're waiting on, I think, the union to ratify the new contract, which will have the new compensation for our teachers. We're hoping that this will certainly help us to not only retain the current staff that we have, but to attract high-quality teachers for our program. We intend to take that contract, once it's ratified by the union, to the county board for the county board's approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Do I hear a motion to approve the Head Start management reports, including the financials and the service area reports for May and June, as presented? updates. And we'll start with Orion. Thanks for the reminder.
So as far as finance, we are currently really busy with the wrap-up right now of all of the grants, that had a June 30th fiscal, and making sure that all the closeouts are appropriate and getting the rest of that finalized. Otherwise, we're currently working on the wrap-up of our single audit activity related to the county's external audit, and then been working on trying to get the financials out the door on that side as well too here, hopefully in the next month or so. So remaining positive that all that gets submitted on time and should be good to go. So.
Thank you. Becky?
All right, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. RBC currently has 403 active employees. Our employee count includes 63 work experience participants with the Workforce Development Services Division and 98 youth workers with the Youth Employment Services Program. The Human Resources Department has been highly focused on several staffing strategies to attract, motivate, and retain qualified staff. We are very excited about moving forward with new strategies, particularly with the early childhood program. As Delitzo mentioned, the contract is in, we have a tentative agreement with the contract and are waiting for ratification. The management team is currently strategically working to fill 63 positions across several divisions and the recently opened early childhood classrooms. Other activities and projects of the Human Resources team includes performance management and progressive discipline supervisor training for the Head Start management team. I think it's happening today, right? We also developed and revised the investigation process and created again some supervisor training. The HR team continues to work with Tyler and many other members of the team on the UKG and Munis Tyler Human Resources Information Systems implementation. And finally, the HR team is working on the implementation of the revised pay structure for the Head Start bargaining unit. The HR personnel transactions report for personnel changes from June 11th, 23 to August 5th, 23 is included in the packet today for your approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Lisa?
Good morning. So we are receiving here soon some newly awarded state funding that will help us to expand our homeless services. We have a lot of different homeless services, and we will be able to expand, offering a few more vouchers with the state funding, and then also doing some more diversion work. I think we last talked about the LIHEAP season ended in May, and so there was concern, obviously, with still utility prices escalating. With United Way funding, we have been able to continue to serve and help those that have imminent disconnections. And so we've been able to continue to serve despite LIHEAP being out of season. So we're happy to be able to do that. On a similar note, the LIHEAP season will begin again here in October. With a priority enrollment, they're going to go back to the priority enrollments, and they'll start with seniors in October. Proactively, we've been scheduling outreach events and we'll conduct 12 outreach events here in September, and already have scheduled 600 seniors to complete their intakes proactively so we can keep things moving smoothly. And then all of the rest of the work that we do in community services, we've been continuing to do. So if you have any specific questions or other follow-up, I'm happy to answer any of those questions.
Mayor, if I may just add to that priority period, Lisa, is it not the October would be seniors and households that have individuals with disabilities? That will be in October, and then November will be for households that have children under the age of 6.
That is correct.
And then December it will be open to everybody else.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you. All right, if there's questions, we'll move on to, actually, does anyone have a report for Rita? Alyssa, do you have a report for?
She is not here today. She did not provide one.
Okay, all right. Justin?
How you doing? One of the things that we do is job training for folks. That means career exploration, career assessment, choosing a local program that's going to lead to an in-demand job. And then we're paying for tuition, providing support services. The application window for that was a summer, it closed. And then, so with the fall semester starting, we're getting those folks who had applied and were enrolled into school. So about the 100 or so folks that we served are starting basically Parkland right now, and getting their books together and getting ready for their first week if they haven't already started it. So the job training's going well. Another thing we do is we work with employers to provide matching training grants when they have internal training projects. Right now we're working, our latest two projects are one with a healthcare organization where we're funding the development of 8 CNAs. So these were frontline workers. They had open positions for CNAs, and investment in these folks is going to, once they go through the program, they're going to get a raise and then have a career pathway in healthcare. Before they were just kind of clerical generalists. And then the other project we're working on is funding 16 apprenticeships in the Case New Holland management program at Parkland. And for us, it's a big deal. We had to apply to DCO. We got a $200,000 grant. For us, it's exciting because it's a registered apprenticeship and it's focused on ag tech. And in Champaign, ag tech is a big deal because of Parkland, because of U of I, because of EDC. And then our rural counties have really wanted us to focus on ag tech. They were going forward. And then everyone's talking about registered apprenticeships. So being able to support 16 apprentices through an ag tech program with a special grant from ACO was a big win for us. Thirdly, local workforce areas in the state are being asked to revitalize their integrated business service teams. Basically, that means anyone that gets federal dollars for workforce development and you're serving businesses should come together and talk. Novel idea. And so we haven't been at the table with each other for a bit because everyone was going their different ways because of COVID. But our group met in Bloomington last month to receive training about how to work together, and then we have our first standing meeting set for next month. And so you're going to see all the workforce partners starting to get together to talk about how do we serve businesses and how do we do it together. So that's going to be a good thing for our local area going forward, is more coordination with business services. Lastly, the Climate Equity and Jobs Act, CEJA, that we've talked about that a couple of times in this group. It's a state program that's funding workforce hubs throughout Illinois. One of the required hubs is the Champaign area. And in each hub or area, there needs to be a group of folks working on workforce development that will be funded by CEJA. Parkland's taking the lead on our application, which is due at the beginning of September. Alicia is going to be the coordinator for CEJA. And we've been negotiating with her and with Parkland about the role that Parkland can take on, or excuse me, RBC can take on as far as employment services and business engagements. And so those are the things that we do. And then Parkland and Alicia have also been talking with Paul at ICRT to talk about how to bring them into a partnership for the training component of CEJA. So the negotiations are going well. We're looking forward to the application being submitted, and I think we have a strong competitive application to be the hub for our area. So looking forward to seeing what happens with that. Those are all the updates that I have. Thank you.
Tyler?
Good morning, everyone. So the Data Technology Division has been pushing forward with several administrative projects. One of those includes our CCRPC website revision. We have been shown a beta version of the site so far. It is looking good. We've got a few changes that we're working on with the software developer of theirs to get updated. And we have training for the site with 11 of our internal staff system administrators next week. That system should be going live within the next month or two. We're also working on the UKG financial migration in terms of the integration. We are currently just kicking off the parallels testing of the timesheets going through both systems, our current system and the new system, to verify everything is working in tandem. That project is going to continue to move along. And we have a Sierra project, which is an administrative project that helps manage customer relation information for applicants to a variety of our community services programs. That program has recently moved from an old deprecated platform to a brand new platform. And we have trained the staff on the new platform, and we are working on a couple new features for that system that should be coming online within the next several months. The Ameren demographic tool is another tool that we're working on with the Ameren staff specifically. We have a list of upgrades to the tool that we're going to be working on for the remainder of this year that include adding census tract conversion process updates and incorporating environmental justice communities into the tool. We're also working on a variety of division projects from various divisions within the RPC and also with entities outside of the RPC, including the Champaign County GIS Consortium. We're working with them on updating several of our geographic layers to better enable them and the city of Urbana to work with the files within their own systems. We're also working with the county IT on, we just successfully completed the migration of the .gov update, which is a security update, but they moved to a .gov domain, and also the multi-factor authentication that we can update our Office 365 accounts. We're also working, of course, with the new ICIT division in bringing all of their technology and equipment from their previous university entity to the RPC, and also rebuilding their website, which we have done, is now published as a part of our internal website. And additionally, we're working on the PCD project of pushing our internal hosting platform for several different internal apps and applications to the cloud, for Azure's cloud. And we are continuing to work on that. Completion should be the end of this year for that project. Available for any questions. Yes, sir.
With regard to the UKG Tyler Munis ERP integration, do you have a endpoint where you think that will be completed and functional?
Now that we are beginning the parallels testing of the timesheet application, we should be able to set a go-live date. It hasn't been set yet. There is a timeline that we have to establish of how we're going to train people for change management for onboarding our staff. But once that is established, we can set a go-live date. I would not like to say when at this moment, but I would say by the next meeting, we should have a go-live date established for this project.
Any other questions? All right. Is there a report for the indoor climate?
Mr. Francisco has joined us via Zoom.
Thank you. Mayors and commissioners, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here with you this morning for my first meeting with you. So I want to give just a shout out to everybody at RPC that's been so helpful in the transition. Our program is not simple. The transition of an entire program is not a trivial matter, and the team at RPC has just been absolutely fantastic. Worked very closely with Belitzo, with Becky, Tyler, Orion, and it's just really been great. So it's just a wonderful team. So I just want to acknowledge the efforts that they have put in for what has been, I think, from the RPC side, a very good, smooth, seamless transition. I've felt just tremendous support, and I'm very, very appreciative and extremely excited about our future with RPC for the ICRT program. I also want to just take a moment, since it is my first meeting with you, to give just a brief overview of what our program is about, how we operate. So as the name implies, we do both research and training, and we actually have kind of a third pillar as well that I'll mention in a moment. The training program is the foundation. We do all of the training that's required for the Illinois Home Weatherization Assistance Program, and that is the kind of the baseline of our funding, and we've got just amazing, tremendous support from the state, from DCEO to maintain that program. And the new facility that was mentioned in the budget that Belitzo and Orion have mentioned, that is being pursued with full support from the state. They're looking for us to have the premier training facility in the country, in the world, for home performance training. So we're extremely excited about that and the ongoing support and partnership with the state. So we have a team of about half a dozen people on the research side, and we are looking to add a little bit to that. We've got a couple of postings out related to the training side. And we also are seeing, in addition to the DCEO support, we are seeing some other opportunities. We've got some programs related to youth workforce that we've been working on with some other folks in the state. We have interest from other entities like Ameren in that program as well. Ameren is very interested in some other offerings that we have. So the training that we do specifically for the weatherization program is something we're leveraging into other opportunities with other entities as well, including, as Justin mentioned, the CEJA program. We do also do research. We've got a team of 3 full-time researchers. We have funding from federal agencies such as HUD and DOE. We have existing projects that we're in the process of working through to move over from the university to RPC, so we're working closely with those federal agencies to do that. The university is doing what they need to do in order to get it released from the university and moved over to RPC, so we expect that to be coming soon. We also have some additional funding opportunities that are coming along with that, with the research side. Would be in something, going back briefly to how we operate. We have the research team, we have the training team. One of the things that we do is bring them together. We are considered to be kind of the premier research program in the country to support the national weatherization program, and it's because of the integration that we have between the practitioners on the training side and our connections with the weatherization network in the state and across the country, in conjunction with the research team. So many of our research projects are in conjunction with weatherization agencies all across the country, so that it can have direct impact on serving our families in need across the state and across the country. So we do sometimes have projects. We have that include both. We have currently we're on a team that is being shortlisted, for example, by Ameren to conduct a Healthy Homes pilot, which would include the training team in terms of providing training for people, training and guidance on measures to implement for healthy homes. And it would involve the research team in the context of evaluating the program and the outcomes. So that's one of the ways in which we bring the two aspects of ICRT together. There is a kind of third type of work that we do, which is kind of program development. So Healthy Homes is an area that we specialize in quite a bit. And as Lisa knows, we have been working for a couple of years now with funding from the state CSBG office in conjunction with Carle Hospital to develop a Healthy Homes program in partnership with a medical institution, which would be kind of a first in the nation type of initiative of that type. And while it's been a little bit slow to really get traction, we believe we have a recent breakthrough, and we're expecting to have additional funding from the CSBG program coming along as well. We're also putting in a concept paper next week for $2 million to DOE for development of some additional training capacity and innovation. I think we're going to have a strong proposal there. We have a number of other things that we're kind of waiting for opportunities to drop. So that budget that Orion mentioned for us, that's kind of where we're at now with other opportunities in the offing. So we continue to build our partnerships with folks across the state and across the country. We continue to look for opportunities for additional funding that supports our staff and supports the citizens of the state. And again, I'm just extremely excited about doing this through RPC. I think it's a perfect, natural match of mission and vision and personnel. So I know that's a little longer than everybody else gave. It is my first time. I wanted to give you a little background of what we're doing. So I look forward to working with all of you and meeting with you in the coming months. And if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. And Delissa, if there's something I missed, please feel free to chime in.
Thank you. Well, welcome on board here, so we appreciate your
Thank you.
report. So, Delissa, I'll turn it over to you for your report for today.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm going to be brief. First thing I wanted to say is that we're certainly looking forward to 2024. I think that bringing on this new program certainly has added to the portfolio of what the RPC does and continues to do. The other thing I wanted to share is that we are having a new COO that will begin September 11th, I believe. And her name is Tammy Ogden. She currently is with the County Administration Office. And so she'll be beginning in September, taking over from filling the position that Elizabeth Murphy had been in since, for 45 years with the RPC. The other thing, just to share with you, is more of a concern, and I'm going to be working with our team here next week, is to try to put some plans in place, given that we may possibly have a government shutdown at the end of September, and given the fact that majority of our funding are federal funds, even though some of those are passed through the state, those funds would be impacted in the event that there's a government shutdown. And so we're going to be working with our funding sources to find out what kind of strategies we need to have in place in the event that a government shutdown does take place, if Congress does not come to any agreement on the budget. So with that said, I don't have anything else to add. I don't know if commissioners may have any questions for me.
Any questions?
If there was a government shutdown at the end of September, what would the timeline be to when that would affect us? Would that be immediate, or is there still kind of money in the line that we'd be able to go through before then?
Yeah, and Orion, you might need to help me on that, but I know that in previous times when this has happened, some of the funding sources have encouraged us to draw down funds, and that has helped, the organization to remain operational while, there's no resources flowing from the federal government. But Orion, anything to add to that?
Correct, yeah, I mean, mainly just focusing on the drawdown of our funds as soon as possible. And then we've also got, a healthy fund balance, a portion of it that's unrestricted that is, to some extent, set aside to help, assist during times like that. So hopefully to keep operations running smooth until we get back up on our feet, so.
And I think the longest shutdown that I can recall was about maybe 3 weeks. So hopefully it won't be that long. But everything else I've heard while I've been at this national meeting is that some are saying 70% chance that there will be a government shutdown at the end of September.
Is there any other questions? All right, is there any old or new business that we need to address? Seeing none? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Have a good Friday.